What's up, guys? Tanner here. And so, well, first let me get started. As I've said this before, that I'm so OCD, I change my mind about everything. So, I had the urge today to take apart my whole desk, how it was set up. And then I had another thought. So let me just show you really quickly what's going on back. So right now there's a whole mess on the desk. And before everything was just kind of under the desk. All the cables were run under the desk. The Mac Mini was under the desk. Hard drive was under the desk. Everything was under the desk. And now I just have this pile of cords, bricks, everything that was under the desk. And now this is what I was starting with, just the monitor like this. I have my Mac Mini on the desk, and that right there on top of it is a TP-Link Agent is what it's called. It's a mesh system for my Wi-Fi. That's one of my nodes. The main one is in another room. And so this is what I was starting out with, and I got in the middle of it, and I don't like how it looks so far. So as I have this mess of cables in front of me, and as I'm thinking I don't like this setup, I had a thought. What if I tried having nothing on my desk? So this is kind of just a harebrained idea that just sprouted upon me. I've seen people do this, and I'm kind of going into the new year. It's February at this point, so it's past the whole New Year thing, but at this point I want to go into the 2024 being kind of more focused on the content and how I do it rather than the gear that I use to do it. Not so much that I'm not excited for new things or new gear, because at heart I still feel like I'm kind of like a gearhead, hardware kind of person, but I want to focus more on using less like gear, like not buying a bunch of new stuff, just using what I have and what I deem is essential for what I want to do. So here comes the thought. I have my M2 Mac Mini. I also have my M2 MacBook Air 13-inch, and those of you who've been watching for a while remember last year when the Mac Mini came out and I got it, I kind of did a head-to-head comparison versus the Air and the Mini. In the end, like, the Mini did come out on top, but it wasn't by that much of a margin. And so my thought was, I get rid of the monitor, I put the Mac Mini aside for now, and I just go into this next week, and then I kind of just like, I use the MacBook Air as the home machine, as well as the machine that I take with me places. So that's kind of what I'm going to do. So I'm going to clean all this up. I'm going to I'm going to clean all the wires up. I'm going to clean everything. I'm going to set it up the way that I want to run it for just having the MacBook Air as the home station. And I'll show you guys how it looks when I'm done. And with the magic of editing, the desk is now entirely clean. I thought about doing a time-lapse of me cleaning up the desk, but A, I forgot, and B, it's now Saturday morning. I didn't end up finishing this last night, but basically what I wanted to try and start with is just have a super clean and as minimal as I possibly can desk. So, I mean, I have my headphones hanging right there, all that stuff, like my phone, my iPad, those don't normally sit there. It's just, I was using those, so that's just where they sit. I just have my MagSafe Duo charger plugged in, so I have the wireless charger. Then I have my MacBook Air, and I opted to keep my mouse, my MX Master 3S, just because I actually really like the mouse, and I like using the mouse sometimes better than the trackpad, so I'm going to keep the mouse. And then I have the cord for the MacBook, and that's all just under here. And actually, the thing I had before with my Mac Mini was that everything was plugged into it, so I just had to turn it on and do my thing. So everything isn't plugged in anymore, so all of the cables that I decided to deem necessary, one of them being the USB cable for my 8 terabyte Seagate hard drive. That's just hanging down here coiled up, and I'll just uncoil them and use them whenever I need to. And so that is kind of the setup at the moment. Now, basically, my whole plan with this exercise is I'm gonna, starting from yesterday night, which was Friday, I'm gonna try and just leave everything off. I'm gonna only use the MacBook and just go through that for this next week and record it and basically see how I like it and whether I actually like it or not. Right now, the Mac Mini is just sitting back here in this cubby. It's right there. This is my fun, cool toy shelf, but I have one cubby that I just allocate for some just tech things that I keep around. It's kind of like my gear cubby. So it's sitting in there for now with some other things that were on the desk, but I think for right now, we're just gonna... I'm actually fairly excited to try this just because for a while I've had a thought that I want to have less stuff, be a little more minimal, and my other thought was that I wanted everything tech related, video making, like everything I used or needed to be able to fit in my bag, which is challenging because I have a lot of stuff. So, but yeah, we're gonna try this, and I'm gonna keep you guys in the loop of how it goes. So, here's day one of having my minimalist desk. So, it's the end of day 2 of having nothing on my desk and only using my MacBook for anything, and I didn't really do very much today. It's Sunday, so it was just kind of a rest day, just chill out. But yeah, what I will say, yesterday evening or yesterday morning, I don't remember which day, but I inputted some of the previous footage into iMovie to edit it, and the one thing that caught me up right away is, I think I made this comment before, that I previously had everything already plugged in, and it was just pretty much just turn it on and go. So I didn't have that, so I had to think about what I had plugged into the MacBook. I had the just basic SD card reader with the micro SD reader inside of it, and then I had my SSD to put drive footage onto. Yeah, so before I had just my the Seagate drive under the desk plugged into the Mac, and that's where I imported everything. And so now it's more of a double step process, just importing it to that drive and this, that, and the other. And so I could have just the Seagate plugged in instead of the 1 terabyte. I chose to do it that way just because it's faster load speeds compared to my Seagate, especially using a Thunderbolt cable. Long story short, I had to think about it before I did anything, which didn't add that much extra time, but that's just one thing I noticed. But I will say that I like having basically nothing on the desk. Like, if you look, there's like, I have the MacBook, the charger, my mouse is currently charging, but I do like the fact that there's nothing on the desk just because there's a little less distractions, and so I get stuff done a little quicker, even with all the extra steps that I was talking about before. I get it done a little quicker because there's less distractions on the desk, and I think it just looks nicer. Again, this could be the ramblings of a madman. That's like, you have nothing on your desk, you do it all off a laptop. That's crazy. But I'm down for crazy stuff. So yeah, this is the end of day 2, and so far I'm still kind of loving it. So day 2. day 3 of my little social experiment, and I have nothing super major to report on about this today, other than the fact that this just makes me happy. Here, let me show you. This is currently how my desk looks when I come home to it. It's just a big empty slab of this beautiful, beautiful butcher block that it is made out of. And it sounds silly, but it just makes me happy to see it nice and clean. I don't have a good reason to why it just brings me with such joy, other than it does. And yeah, so far I haven't really done anything major, like work-wise at this desk yet, but I can't say that I miss the Mac Mini. I was bad, guys. I missed a day. I was doing so well, and I missed a day. But also, that's not really the end of the world, because the reality is I didn't record anything yesterday because there wasn't anything major to talk about, you know? It was just another average day, just working on stuff. Right now, I'm actually working on the thumbnail that I'm thinking. I have kind of an idea for the thumbnail for this video, so that's kind of what I'm working on now. I guess, like, this process of making it is kind of nice, just in the fact that it's currently Wednesday. I started this last Friday. I plan on doing this for another 2 days at this point. And so, I mean, that part itself, it's nice that I have all this time, but also it's like I want to do this. I want to get it done. Yeah, 16 by 9. Perfect. But it's also been an interesting experience. Just the whole thing, really. It's just I learned some things about, not necessarily like my workflow, but just about how I was doing things and how I want to be doing things, and how I'm kind of learning a lot about myself almost from this experience. So I'm gonna take a picture real quick. I'll be right back. Camera's dying. I gotta plug it in. I don't know if I ever really talked about this camera. It's just my Sony. I know I never did a video on it, but it's my Sony ZV-1. The only thing that I hate about this camera, but it's also, I choose not to upgrade it or fix it by any means because I don't use the camera that much, is that it's micro USB-C. It's micro USB, and that's how you charge it. That's the only reason, that's the only thing I have to knock against it. This is literally the only thing that I even own at this point that still uses micro USB-C. But yeah, other than that, like, I've just noticed, like, since I've taken the monitor, the Mac, all that off the desk, I've sat down with this desk, and I'm going to move this camera. Not there, I don't like the window. I've sat down at this desk. I've had a purpose for sitting down at this desk, and that's kind of just the conclusion that I've come to, is that I have more, when I sit down here, I have a purpose, and I do that, and then I go on about my day, and I do other things. And not that not having a purpose or just like sitting here to sit here is bad. That's not it at all. It's just, me personally, I've just noticed, and this is again just for myself, that like I get distracted by things very easily. If it's here that I could touch it and get distracted by it, it's gonna distract me. And it's just something that I've noticed as I get older, you know, and it's not that it's a bad thing, but it's just I personally don't like it. So I like going into this. That's another reason why it's like I don't post YouTube videos regularly all the time. It's just I don't have ideas and I don't want to waste time or make meaningless content, as I want to make stuff that's important to me. And other times it's just like I don't feel like I have a purpose when I sit down here. So But so, as I keep saying probably throughout this whole video, I think so far that I like this. I like being able to sit down, grab my laptop out of my bag, sit down, do some work, and be able to put it all away. I think that was another thing too, is that like with having the monitor and all that, is that it always felt like it was right here. It always felt like it was out. I had to touch it, and it's just so it's nice. It's nice to be able to just put it all away when I'm done with it. I don't need to spend any extra time on it, and that's how it works. And it's working for me, you know. So yeah, that's my spiel for the 5th, and I guess the 4th and the 5th day too. I'm gonna edit the thumbnail and then add this into my timeline, and with the magic of editing, you'll be on to the next day by now. So, end of day 5. And finally, we are at the final day of this experiment. And I learned a lot about myself more than anything. I feel like I can definitely say now from experience that not everybody needs both their laptop and their desktop. You can get away with just one. And then whatever one that is, that's entirely up to you. For me personally, what I've learned from this is that I think I like having the laptop because I like being able to take it with me wherever I go. I like being able to open it up and work on stuff when I'm out and about or somewhere different. The Mac Mini, I still love it. I think ultimately, at the beginning of this, I said at the end of it, I would decide whether I would actually sell or get rid of the Mac or I would keep it. I think I'm going to keep it around for now. Though I am not going to have it at the desk at all times anymore, I have a couple ideas for this guy that I kind of want to try and play with, and you'll eventually see that because there will be a video of it. But ultimately, I think for my main workflow of doing these videos, I'm going to entirely switch to doing it from the laptop. And it's what I've also learned from this too is just the fact that like I don't necessarily need it, but I also don't need as much of the stuff that I have. Something I've been thinking about a lot going into this new year, into 2024, of how I kind of want to condense and what's the right word? Not recontextualize. I guess reprioritize how I do things and what I do them with. And I think I may have touched on this a little bit at the beginning of this video, but ultimately, I'm actually not going to go that deep into it, other than the fact that I was saying that what I've learned from this is that I want to change up the workflow. Some of the other thoughts that I'm going to hold my tongue on, because if I don't, I'll just keep talking forever. But some of those other thoughts I'm going to save for a different video. That also gives me content, job security, and just something for me to do later. But the point for today is that I thought when I started, I wanted to be a lot more like other people I see, in the fact that they had all this stuff, they had all this gear, they had all this opportunity to do all this stuff. I think I've touched on this idea multiple times on this channel up to this point, but my favorite video that I will call one of my favorite videos that I've ever watched is from Peter McKinnon. I think it's a video from 2020 or 2021 of his gear cage. I loved that video because at heart, I'm still kind of like a hardware person. But since then, I think I've evolved. And I mean, both like spiritually, emotionally, mentally, like literally, I've changed. Like, I'm not the same kid that I was back then. Like back then I was just some 21-year-old kid in my bedroom, and now it's like I'm married, happily married, my own house. I have not really a studio, but I have my own little place that I can do this. That isn't my childhood bedroom anymore. So that was kind of a tangent on the whole point of this conversation that we're having. But yeah, that's all I have for this video. Comment down below. I want to know how do you do work? What's your machine like? Are you a laptop person? Do you have a desktop person? Are you both? Like, what do you do? What do you want to know? How do you do it? I want to know. Also, do you guys have any idea what I should do with this? I have some ideas of what I want to kind of tackle or some things I want to try with the Mac Mini, but if you guys have any idea, or if you have your own Mac Mini setups that work really great for you, let me know. I want to know what you guys are thinking, but yeah. That's all I got for this one. I hope you're all staying safe out there, and I will see you guys in the next episode.